Made in Chafford Podcast. This is episode 30, I think.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
episode 30. So slight milestone, but here we are.
too many hours.
Yeah, exactly. Content kings. Innit? But yeah, Made in Chafford Podcast, most influential podcast in the world.
I love that.
We've got a special guest. It depends how you want to be referred, because online we know you as Kia, but your name is Kai.
Other way around. So
Other way around.
I'm known as Kay, but my
Got
name's
you.
Kia.
Got you.
I see.
Okay. From the Pennies To Pound podcast.
Yes.
How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. What am I, in my week 4 of lockdown? So I'm slightly going insane, but I'm okay. I'm alright.
You're not alone.
You know what I mean? I'm still going.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Get there
It'll
slowly.
be over soon.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
100%.
Speak it into existence.
But no, it's good to have you on here. We have been a really big fan of your stuff. You've been doing really well on the socials, and just
Thank
some of
you.
your content is very just needed, because like a lot of
100%.
finance stuff seems to go at a miss, especially with our generation. And I feel like it's really
especially our community as well.
Yeah, that's probably the main
Again.
thing about it, really. But I just wanted to get you on here just to share some of your insights, some of your journey, and I guess the perfect place to start would be with Pennies To Pound podcast. Like, what inspired you to actually make it?
So that's an interesting story. So I created my first thread on Twitter, which was end of September, which is about the best ways to save. And I was never really trying to do that per se on Twitter. So that was the first one. Didn't really do any kind of numbers, but for me, I had 800 followers. So whatever, even though I got 10 retweets, that was amazing for me at the time. Then I did a thread about 4 days later about Help to Buy ISA. Then that thread went viral, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And a lot of people were just so I started giving nuggets and little gems. People were like, oh my gosh, write a book, start a TV show. And I was like, you guys all moving mad. And then someone was like, start a podcast. Exactly, yeah. But someone was like, start a podcast. And I was like, actually, podcast, I think I can do. Mm-hmm. So I thought about it, I was running through my friends, running down that idea. And everyone was like, yeah, cool, you should do it. So I was like, okay, cool. And I remember I didn't know how you start a podcast. I didn't know how you upload it. I didn't know artwork. I didn't know anything. But I knew I wanted to do it. So I remember going to the studio and I had no name. So on my way to the studio, I was like, I have no name. I'm going to record this podcast with no name. And you can't really introduce a podcast with no name. So you need to figure out what you're going to call it. I was walking, I was thinking all these kind of things. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, money, finance, I was like, pounds. I was like, penny. I was like, actually, pennies to pounds. I did my extensive research to see if anyone had already taken it. They hadn't. I was like, that's what I'm calling it. I asked a couple of friends and my dad. Everyone was like, yeah, it's a cool name. And that was that. That was Pennies To Pounds podcast.
That's crazy.
And from there, I recorded the first episode and went from there.
That's crazy. That's a great start. Especially how you came up with the name and then not really having something in mind and then going to it randomly popping into your head. That's a brilliant start already, really. I mean, I guess for you, what was it that made you want to, because you obviously put out the tweets, what was it for you? Did you just feel like not enough people are talking about this, or is it just a conversation you wanted to have?
So a lot of people don't know, but back in 2018, about April 2018, I started this series called Life Lessons with Kay on YouTube, and that was essentially what I'm doing now, just in YouTube format. So I did videos on how credit cards work and all these kind of things, mortgages, all these taxes, all these things. But as you can imagine, people don't go onto YouTube and say, you know what, forget Tory Lanez, I'm going to go and type in and look at finance. People don't do that, right? And that's okay. So I put that on pause. I didn't give up. I put it on pause. And then obviously Twitter just happened to happen because a lot of my friends already knew that I'd done that previously. So they were like, oh my gosh, can you give us that ways to save? One of my friends suggested I should do a Twitter thread as a format wise, because I was going to put it on Instagram. And she's like, oh, do a Twitter thread and then screenshot it and put it on Instagram. So I was like, okay, cool, that makes more sense. It's more coherent that way. So that's how that works. So the thread was irrelevant for me on Twitter. I just wanted it for Instagram. And then that kind of happened. But yeah, to go back to your point, I did, I knew I had the knowledge and I knew I had a good way of breaking it down because I did that a lot for my friends separately. So I knew I had a good way of breaking down these difficult topics, but still holding the core elements of that topics and not dumbing it down too much. And I thought, you know what, this is conversations that aren't really had. I asked my friends about Help to Buy ISA. no one could give me an answer. People just said my mom said I should get one, but no one could explain why. And there were just conversations I was having, and no one could really explain why they were doing stuff. It was just like, mum said so, dad said so, but I don't know why. So I thought, you know what, let's just open up this dialogue and start talking about it. So yeah.
No, it needs to be done.
That's the thing that struck me the most about what you said is we're not having these conversations. Why do you think that is? Like, just people don't want to talk about it, or is it because it's not taught in schools?
I think obviously it not being taught in schools is a big factor, and I think a lot of people just want to have these conversations regarding finances and money when it's all positive. So we always know when rappers have money, but we never hear about when people are going through struggles. So people only want to hear like, oh, I'm making money from Forex, I'm making money from doing this. But whenever someone's struggling a bit, like, you know what, not gonna lie guys, I'm at uni and I don't know how to budget my money, we don't have those conversations. That's what I think it is.
It's an important conversation to have as well. Like, so many people get stuck in situations, or I think it would help because then you'd be able to see, I don't know how to describe it, but like if someone was going through something and they actually came out and said, yeah, I'm actually struggling with this, it might also help someone else because they'll be able to open up a dialogue, and more people will be less discouraged to have a conversation.
Exactly.
Which I think it goes back to what you said. People are scared to have that conversation.
And also it's building habits as well. So for example, if we're the first generation to receive the information and pass it down to the next generation, then that means we essentially have a family line of just individuals who are financially literate, which is very important for our community as well, because I don't think our community has actually experienced that. Majority of us have come here straight away, started a job, got a mortgage, boom, and that's it. Whereas other sort of communities have come here, started businesses, and played the system to their benefit, and it's worked for them. But we're still in some sort of disadvantage.
Exactly. So it makes what you do that much more important. And like I feel like shadows of what you do like kind of mirrors what we did, because you started this podcast in uni, right?
No, so I started it in October, so I was technically still an enrolled student, which I still am now, but I wasn't at uni, I was back home.
Cool, got you. I see. That's fair. So like even like from a perspective of just like having to like juggle the two, like that's something that
of course,
me and Demi, when we've initially started this podcast, it was like, you know, how do we juggle being a student and I guess even working and at uni? Like, what were the struggles like you went through, like having to like prioritize certain aspects of your podcast and your life? Was there ever a point where that happened?
I feel like my schedule's like even worse now, which is like so crazy. Like, so my week would have to figure out, so I worked 3 days a week, so that was really 3 days written off. 3 days I can't do anything because I'm working. And then I still had uni work to do at home. I just still had things to do, but I had to go to the studio and try and figure that out. So it was a proper balance. And then I one day sat down and said, you know what, Kia, you actually got to be serious with your life. Because people look at you as if you're serious, but you're not serious with your organization. And I sat down with myself a planner and I literally planned out my day. And I was like, right. So I dedicated like every Wednesdays when I record the podcast. Doesn't matter what's happening. Doesn't matter what I need to do, that will fit around that. But that's when I'm recording the podcast. And obviously I'm working Saturday, Sunday, Monday, let's say. So that's work. And I'll just put everything else around it because that was the only way I was going to get things done. Otherwise, I don't think the podcast would be going to this point today if I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, I love it when I hear people had conversations with themselves like that. Like we at the start of the year more or less had that same conversation with ourselves where it was like, we're doing this, but how seriously are we taking it? And we all, you know, you have to more or less look yourselves in the eyes and look your friends in the eyes, whoever you're doing the podcast with, and be like, yo, this is serious. Like what you do is fantastic as well. So you have to look yourself in the eye and be like, what I do is really important and really good, but if I don't, you know, take it seriously, how can other people take me seriously as well? So I love hearing stories like that where you just like, you sack yourself up and you go out and then you give 110%.
Thank you. I tried. It was hard, but I tried.
Yeah. It has to be done.
100%.
It's true.
And it's paying dividends. Like, I feel like you're like, so this week you had your rebrand, and I feel like what was the thought process behind that? Because I actually quite liked the design before, but like now it looks so much more like sophisticated. Like, where did the idea from that come from?
So a lot of people kind of, I feel like a lot of people see me and think, oh yeah, you know, she just kind of like drops things here and there. Like when I tell you I'm very strategic, like I'm planning 4 moves already.
Yeah.
So in my head, I knew about 2 months ago that I wanted to get new artwork done. That was really, I knew it. I just didn't know what I was going to do and all of that. So it was kind of like in my head, like I need to get this done. And it just so happened that 6 months of Pennies To Pounds was coming up. Like I looked back at my first episode and looked back at the day and I said, oh my gosh, 6 months is coming up. I said, okay, this is a perfect time to change it up, because I was like, the podcast is good at the moment, but it's not where I want it to be. So I already knew I wanted to change it up that sense. I was like, you know what, may as well go full Monty and change it. So I decided, like, I just said the artwork was great. When I first got it done, I said, this is sick. I've always said I wanted a logo that, even if there's no words on there, you look at the logo and you know what it is. That's what I wanted. So the original one was amazing. I loved it. But then the new one came and I was a bit like, when it was being designed, I was like, oh, I don't know, you know, I'll stick to the one I've already got. And then when it came, I said, this just kind of like encapsulates what I'm doing in like a more professional and sleek way. And I was like, this is it. Like, I'm just going to go with the rebrand, and then now I'm going to push, and this is what I want to do. And I feel like I wanted, like, yes, I'm serious. I know I'm serious, but I wanted another level. I wanted, if people look at me or brands look at me, they're like, right, yeah, this is the girl, this is the podcast we want to collab with, whatever it is. I want you to look at me and say, yeah, this is who we want to work with. And I wanted to kind of allude that and do that in the artworks. That's why I did that.
Got you. What would be some of like your dream collabs then? Or because obviously that's part of the reason. Is, have you given it any thought?
Yeah, so I'd say, like, it's in my head. What my number one, I say, or number like top 2, probably like Nella Rose and Miss Banks. And it might sound a bit like, okay, but they're not like finance. I don't necessarily always want finance people on my podcast. There's always a way you can link back to something. But I think that they'd be really insightful. Like, I'd be able to get stuff out of them and be really insightful. Like, they're definitely top 2.
100%. That's a good combination.
That's a really interesting choice.
Doing their things.
I always see Miss Banks out here supporting the most random people. It's like shots. I'm like, how does she even know this person exists?
Yeah, no.
But she's always out here. Shouts out to Miss Banks, man.
Yeah, man, I think she's great.
I think that makes sense, because I'll be honest, like, I've been binging your podcast recently, and the thing I like about it the most is, like, it's very short and it's very to the point. So you're obviously, like, on average like 30 minutes long. So I've literally cleared like 2/3 of it within this like past week. And I feel like you've got really good like variety of like guests and stuff. So for example, my favorite episode so far, I think, was with your dad, because he's very insightful, and like I feel like obviously that probably inspired you to do the stuff that you do. But
absolutely.
I can see your point. So you could easily get different types of guests who actually do different things. It's kind of like what we do. Like, our guests don't really have much of a correlation to what we speak about the majority of the time. But it's good to have different perspectives on and different topics things. you can talk about. So
I couldn't agree more. It's so good to be able to just sometimes have people on and not necessarily, but just get a different perspective on maybe even the same thing that's going on. So obviously there's been a lot of talk about what's going on in the world and stuff like that. So it's always interesting to have different people on. And I guess that's what you try to do, get different perspectives. To do the whole thing. Wait, Demi. What?
Huh?
Did the fingers freeze?
Yeah, it was
the audio cut a little bit.
It was just frozen for a bit.
Oh God! I thought you guys froze. I was like, "What's happened?"
No, we're waiting for you, bro. But you were saying about different perspectives and stuff.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I like that. That's what she's aiming to do. Like, that's what Kay wants to do, is get different perspectives, and similar to what we do here as well. Mm-hmm. But the frozen ruined my momentum.
Cool, bro.
I was dropping bars.
Technical difficulties. But I was gonna ask you a question. So me and Eman as well, we have like backgrounds in finance. Well, more me than Eman, but Eman shares a similar background to me. What you study French and business, right? Mm-hmm. Was that a conscious choice to, like, what made you want to pick it? Is my question.
That's like another rabbit hole. So I went to like a really, really, really good sixth form, like one of the best in the country. And like it was a very intense sixth form. Like if I said the name, you'd know exactly who I was on about. And it was kind of like I don't even think I knew what I wanted to do. At one point, I was going to do biology. Another point, I was going to do dentistry. So it was all kind of like up in the air. And then they kind of like pushed me towards doing a language. So I was like, okay, cool. I was really good at economics as well, but I wanted to do a language and that, and no uni that I wanted to go to anyway. I'm offered that as a combined degree. So I just went to business instead, and that's kind of how that came about, really.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's interesting, like, because I'd ask you, Eman, like, what made you pick, like, I guess you did something in accounting, like me.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know what my thought process was to end up doing accounting or finance. Like, what was yours to end up going that route of accounting? Do you even remember or no? I definitely don't. You know what I mean?
To be honest, sorry, apologies. Basically, it was something to do with business, and I think accountancy was like, it was one thing I wanted to do just because I wanted the skill set. So in case I go into business, like starting a business, starting a new venture, whatever it may be, learning the system. What I studied was AAT, which is Associates for Accounting Technicians. And pretty much as soon as you get to level 4, you can become a financial advisor if you wanted to, or go on to do other sort of certifications such as CIMA, ACCA, or ACA, or known as ICAEW. But pretty much what I wanted to do, what the foundation was to learn the skill set so I can take that skill set into business. Because majority of the people who start businesses, they don't know what they're doing. They'll just do just buy, sell, and then that's their profit. Whereas if you can segment those costs and find out exactly what your profit is, then it's a lot better. So having that skill set for me was very much important than becoming an accountant itself. And that's why I did the AAT.
I hear that. It's just interesting because I always want to know what make people choose the thing that they chose. Because like, I feel like at a young age, like we get a lot of pressure put on us to do certain things, like as far as academic wise, and we don't necessarily know what the long-term payoff is, or if that's something we actually want to do.
Yeah, and that was another thing as well. Like, pretty much that was the real reason why I started accountancy, right? Just to do that. And even getting an apprenticeship as well, it was kind of difficult for me because the thing is, a lot of people were asking me, what do you want to do in life? And I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, to be honest with you. And when you're 19,
it's a crazy question. No,
it's a real crazy question. Like, people will just say, what do you want to do in life? It's like, I don't know. So then as I'm in the apprenticeship, it's like, you now put yourself in this mindset that accountancy is going to be for the rest of your life. And then you now lose your way of what you want to, like, why you started accountancy and stuff like that. And it just got to a point where it was just like, I don't want to do it anymore. And then, you know, once you realize who you are, then you realize where you're going. Then you realize where you're going, and then you can now make a path for yourself and then decide what you're going to do next. And at that time, I just didn't know. So it was just really hard for me. So, because a lot of people were just asking me, oh, okay, do you want to do accountancy? It's like, yeah, I want to do accountancy for the rest of my life. It was like, for the rest of your life, for the rest of your life. And then it's just like, got to a point where it's just really low. It's just like, no, I don't want to do that. But the main reason why, just to go back to it, was mainly just to learn the skill set for business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. Like, life is not a shame, but life is crazy because you think when you start at A level and you're doing a course and like you actually think, oh, this is going to lead to what I want to do for the rest of your life, and it's not even close. Like, I wouldn't say where I study politics is now where that's not even close to the field that I'm in or I work in. It's just insane the amount of pressure you can put on yourself when you're young and you don't even have all the answers.
Yeah.
It's just a shame. I don't know why why do you put that sort of pressure? Why do we put that sort of pressure on ourselves? You know,
I think it's because teachers, well, majority of teachers, I would say, from having conversations with friends who've become teachers, they have not become who they wanted to become. So they've become teachers because that's like their secondary, their plan B. Not to apply anybody who didn't want to become a teacher, if anybody's listening, so on and so forth. But I feel like they'll put the pressure on you because they feel like you could do better and you could become something greater than them. Yeah. So I feel like that's what they do. But if you just don't know what you want to do, then it's a bit different. So
that's also fun.
But I think majority of the time you'll find your way by the time, like, for most individuals, most average individuals, they'll find their way at the age of 21, and then they'll find out who they want to become, what they want to do in life, and they'll start planning. So for some people, they plan a lot later, but I would say that for most individuals, they'll start planning at 21.
But one thing that is always good though is, like, for example, in your case, Kay, like, you can at least use your degree to kind of help you with your podcast, because obviously, or to some degree, like, you're picking up and learning stuff, and that's kind of like first-hand knowledge, and you can pass that down. Whereas, like, I mean, I guess my degree and what I did and how I've qualified being an accountant, it doesn't necessarily help with the podcast, but I work for a company that's in media, so that ties in there. So whatever way I can turn my life experiences to help the podcast, that's a positive, if that makes sense. So it's never necessarily like a bad thing. Obviously, it's good to have the qualification, but if you can tie it into something you actually are passionate about, that's where the real, value comes from, in my opinion. But
exactly,
it is different for everybody.
Yeah, it's so different for everyone. Like, it's just insane how much. I just think in terms of like the finance and everything we've been talking about, it's a shame that schools don't teach it more. And then you look back on your school experience and you've learned a lot, but it's not stuff that actually helps you in life. And then you don't necessarily get those skills until maybe it's a bit too late. Like, you come to find things out, or that's why it's great what you do, Kay, because it's like there's some conversations that just need to be had, and that we're having them too late in life and trying to find out how to buy a house, or the guidance just isn't necessarily there to do that paying bills.
No, it's so right. It's absolutely true. That's why I'm just trying to open up the dialogue. Just trying to make things a lot easier, because obviously there's going to be people who are just like, I wish I knew this 5 years ago, but at least you know it now. And it's just about whenever you learn it, just learning it and being able to pass it down to others around you, whether it's your loved ones, whether it's your kids, whoever it is, being able to pass on that knowledge. So thankfully I can do that with obviously people on social media. My brother's younger than me as well, so I'm able to do that to him. So he doesn't get into any kind of trouble because he's 17. So
real opportunity.
Very, very good.
People to learn.
Important. Like I was saying, like, apart like social media and stuff, there seems to be, in my opinion, a rise of like financial accounts, like people who have like that kind of background. So for example, like, we know Sade, who does Penny Pal. Dysonomics, who does loads of multiple stuff, and just other people as well doing their thing out here, giving us real financial knowledge. My question to you is, like, people seem to sometimes get opinion mixed up with fact, and my question is, like, where do you draw the line as far as, if you put out something, for example, I don't know, let's say like the Help to Buy stuff, for example, say you put out a thread on that and you say just stating the facts about it, how it works, etc., etc. Then somebody else comes out with a think piece talking about how awful it is. Where do you often find yourself like, let me just try to give people more fact than opinion, or what's your like standpoint on that?
Yeah, I definitely had that when I put out that thread. That's why I laughed. Yeah, someone actually did that when I put out that thread. Yeah, and I just think it's very interesting. There's, as you mentioned, there's a rise in these financial accounts, which is obviously, I'm not the first and I will not be the last. But I feel like some of them, I'd say like a majority of them put out information tied in with their opinion, which I think is quite interesting and quite risky. Like, so if we go back to the Help to Buy ISA situation, so I put out straight facts. I didn't say this is great. I didn't say you should get this over this. I didn't say anything. I said this is how it works. It's definitely worthwhile reading into it more and see even if it fits you. And then there was someone who came out and said that this is terrible. You should never get this. And they even linked back to my thread, and I said that's very cheeky, but carry on. And then basically just slaughtered it and said how terrible it is. And that was their opinion, and they're entitled to their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have people like, I always think, obviously I have a big following, so I have to be very mindful. There's going to be people who will literally take my word for gospel.
Right.
So if I now say that something's terrible and they listen to me, and now all of a sudden it's just like, but you said it was bad and I followed you, I never want to be in that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's very tricky to be able to put your opinion out there attached with something so crucial like that, because people are literally listening to the information you put out. And if you say you should invest in X stock, because I think it's going to be good, and then the stock crashes, people are going to come back to you and say, but you tweeted this and said I should have done this, and I did it, and now it went down. That's why I don't like doing that.
And the worst thing about that is financial advising. If, like, I think majority of the individuals today, they're giving advice as if they are financial advisors. And if someone is smart enough to turn around and say, this person gave me this advice, and they could take them to court, and that's just another story that people,
you don't want to be liable for that.
But how do you avoid not giving your opinion? Because if you believe something, like obviously you can give straight facts, and 2 + 2 = 4. That's the bottom line. But surely it's difficult to also give your opinion, just like in anything in life. Like, I guess it's a bit more with finance. It is a bit more black and white. It's not like reviewing an album or something where it is your opinion, but still it must seep through when you discuss stuff.
Yes and no. Like, I feel like I'm all right at being able to just literally just state the facts. And like, you'll notice sometimes that people will ask me, I've had people message me or like tweet me out and say, oh, hi, you mentioned about savings accounts in your podcast. What's the best one for me to get? And I will say, well, there's quite a few that you can pick from. It all depends on your needs, and these are some of them. And they're like, okay, cool, but which one do you have? And then you'll see me reply back and be like, I'm not gonna advise one over the other. It's completely up to you. And people get upset by that. Like I said, there's a lot of people who freely give their opinion, but they shouldn't do that. In my opinion, again, see, like that's just on me. I don't think that you should be freely giving your opinion. So I'm very much like, even a good example as well is the Help to Buy versus the Lifetime Lifestyle. So I have one of them, and I've never said which one I have, because there's pros and cons to both.
Exactly.
It all depends on what you're looking for. People have come to me and said, okay, cool, so which one do you have? And I know if I give you what I have, you're probably gonna now copy me, because obviously, like, you want to take in my knowledge, cool. But then if it doesn't fit your lifestyle and what you're trying to save for, then you'll come back to me and be like, so why'd you tell me you did this? I got it because you got it. So I'm always very weary, and I'm just like, I know when to kind of draw the line.
That is so important, though. It's actually about circumstances, because everyone's circumstance is different. So if you come on the timeline and say, go out and buy your car outright, that's the best way to buy your car. That's not everybody's truth. And to be honest, obviously there's pros and cons for even not buying it outright. So people don't necessarily look at things with nuance and realize everyone's financial circumstances is completely, different.
Yeah, it's very different.
It's hard to come on to the timeline and just give everybody your opinion on financial stuff in particular. So I see why you do it, to be honest. It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Because certain people can't necessarily do it for themselves, and then they're just looking for one person to say it, and then they're like, that's it. That must be a way to go about it. So I guess you do have to be very careful, especially with what you're giving advice on.
Yeah.
Does that ever make you nervous?
Make me nervous? No, I think in the beginning it did. But I feel like I'm at a point now, obviously it hasn't been super long, but I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I'm helping you, but I'm not gonna sit here and give you my opinion. Like, if someone asks me, so like, what do you think about this? I may give part of my opinion because you've asked me directly, but I won't say, you should do this or this. I might be like, you know what, like, I think this is interesting because of this, but equally there are some pros to this. Do you know what I mean? But it's just, I feel like I've just gotten very used to, and don't get twisted, in the beginning I used to draft up replies and then delete it and then draft up again and show my dad and be like, is this okay? You know what I mean? Yeah.
I love that. The only reason I say that is because I do that as well. Like, if I'm in an intense argument or something, or like you're having a debate, you draft up your reply first and then you send it to the person just to make sure you got all your facts there. Has to be done 100%. Sometimes.
Gotta come with the receipts, you know what I mean?
For real.
But so you did a BBC talk
I did, yes.
How was that? That was like your first live event, right? I think, or for the podcast.
Which one are you referring to? Like BBC, yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I've been listening to the podcast, so I'm so like my timeline is so back.
No, it's okay. So I've done I've done one live episode, and that was at Tate Britain. If you're talking about a live podcast episode, but I've also been in the BBC, I think 7 times now. Yeah, on the radio.
Nice.
So that's why I was kind of asking which one you want to talk about.
I got you. So you've been doing this regular now, yeah?
It seems that way. I mean, I'm very grateful.
That's dope, man. Honestly, that's amazing.
Living that life.
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah. So the BBC one, what was that like? I mean, obviously you've done it several times now, so I guess it's a really unique. The first time would have been a unique experience, but now it just must be like.
No. It's still not like, oh yeah, whatever. No, it's still like it's a big deal. But I remember the first one, I got asked to come on to BBC 5 Wake Up to Money, like on the radio. And for anyone who like listens to finance or does anything like that, that's like incredible. That's insane. And I remember telling my dad, and he didn't believe me because he's been listening to this for years. And he was like, there's no way my daughter is going on BBC 5 Live Wake Up to Money. He's like, it's not happening.
You love to see it.
Yeah, but I remember they called me a cab to my house. I went to the studio. And I said to him, all right, cool, wake up and tune in, yeah? Told him what time I was going to be on. I remember sitting there so nervous. I was only on air for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but I was so nervous. And then I was speaking, and my dad was literally texting me like, oh my gosh, I can hear you on the radio. Like, you're actually on the radio.
That's great.
Yes, and then that one. And then I remember, I think about 5 days later, One Extra reached out to me, and I went up to One Extra as well. And that one was a lot longer, so that was like an hour. But that was like incredible. Like I remember I was so starstruck walking through. I was taking pictures everywhere. I met like Reese Parkinson. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so mental.
That's great.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
Oh, that's a great opportunity. It looks like you took it with both hands. It seems like you're really close with your dad. Would you say like is he your mentor, or like is he the one you got everything, all of this from?
Yeah, that's bro, man. That's my guy. You know
That's
my guy.
That's my guy, man. So I always say like my parents were extremely instrumental in my financial literacy education when I was growing up, 100%.
Yeah.
So if I just like skim the story quickly, like they also always told me to save from a young age, and they taught me to be very entrepreneurial from a young age. So I remember in primary school, I used to make and sell scarves for my friends. I used to go in, ask them what color they wanted. They tell me, I'd go home, buy the wool, knit it up, and bring it the next day. That's what I did, and I made quite a bit of money from that in primary school. Secondary school, I was selling cookies, but like I dominated the market. Like I had meal deals, I had everything. I made money. They caught me once, but I'm smarter than that, man.
Why do you wanna always hate? Like always
when someone else's locker, innit?
I hate when they do that.
I don't know, but I bust that case. Like that story's like I love it. Yeah, I love it so much because they thought they had me.
Isolation. She said, "Nah."
They did. I came straight back out and carried on selling. I was like, "You can't hold me down for long, mate. You can't hold me down."
Free K.
Free me.
That's my guy.
Honestly, so I made a lot of money from doing that. And then when I got to sixth form, at the time I had a natural hair blog, so like about Afro hair. And then I decided, oh yeah, I want to get into like selling stuff again. So there was like a couple of hair products that were US only. And I remember that was the first time I ever had my own business. I registered my business and I became the sole wholesaler of that product in the UK and EU. And like, that was me. Like I've always been, whatever's there, how I'm gonna make it work. And they were definitely with me along the way, giving me tips and this and that. Not to say I've been perfect. I have had my times where I've been into there. I've obviously like kind of like a lot of people experience.
Life of
but for the most part, they've been there. Yeah.
No, you love to see it. I love that they played such a massive part in your story as well. I just want to know, because you are a very interesting person, what sort of other things are you interested in besides, obviously, finance is a massive part for you, but I'm sure there's other interests as well.
Yeah, do you know what? No one's actually asked me this since I started as Pennies To Pounds. Everyone just looks at me like finance guru, that's what she is. It's finance. I don't know, it might come as a surprise or not, I don't know. I really, really love comedy. Like it was on my bucket list last year to actually do a stand-up comedy like
Hey,
Would you
nah,
call it
this
like
is
a
an
thing?
exclusive.
You know what I'm saying?
No
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that
It's
was
needed.
actually what I was gonna do.
I did
Yeah, and
not
all
see
my
that
friends
coming.
were ready. My friends were
Say
like, "Yeah, we're
what?
coming. We're coming to watch you." But then all this kind of took off, and I just kind of put it back burner. But yeah, like I love comedy a lot. I watch a lot of comedy. I don't know. Like I like illustrating. I like doing hair. I don't know.
Who's your favorite
Not
comedian?
really.
Yeah, now we have to get into our comedy bag now.
Kevin
Ooh.
Hart is rubbish.
No,
He's not the guy. He's not
Kevin
the
Hart
guy,
is
bro.
not.
Kevin Hart is not rubbish.
He's not rubbish. He's not my favorite either.
He's not
He's
the
not
guy,
rubbish.
bro.
No one said he's the guy, but it's because he's in Hollywood.
He's
I've
way
always said
too Hollywood, man.
Kevin Hart's films are better than his comedy.
Oh, what's one?
No, I think most of them are just one-time watch.
Nah,
And then you watch them another 5 years later, to be honest, because I mean, they're funny. They're funny, but it's just like, all right, cool, innit? That's it.
I hate you.
I'll watch them again later.
So dead.
Whereas like cult classic like Rush Hour, for example, Chris Tucker, he's just a comedian who just his voice just carries him wherever he goes. But the thing is, he hasn't done really that many films. But yeah, I mean, Chris Tucker's just.
Okay, who's your favorite comedian? If you had to pick.
If I had to pick, I can only do UK. Because American, I just kind of just watch them. But like, if I'm talking about UK, I really like. It's quite a few. Okay, no, I'll just pick two. I like Russell Howard. I think he's really funny. And I'm not trying to be biased. Like, he's my friend, but he's actually really funny as well. This guy called K Kurd.
Yeah,
yes.
K Kurd. He is flipping hilarious. Like, he's my friend as well, but he is so funny. He's incredible.
Some good choices. I think for me it'd have to be Cat Williams, but I don't know. He's just
Cat Williams is funny.
I just love how loud he is.
Yeah, at his peak, he was like
he was untouched. He was untouched, man. Untouchable. But yeah, I did not expect you to say comedy. You want to be like do stand-up comedy? Definitely something you should look into, especially if that's so amazing.
Yeah, I do it for banter, hasn't it?
Do it for banter. You know, it's such polar opposites as well. Like you've got the finances, or maybe you could find a way to work them both in.
Yeah, do you know, I've been thinking about it because I feel like I've said to my friends, because like for my friends, I'm sure you can imagine, like it's quite surreal for them. So they know Kia, and I know Kia who does finance, but now everyone knows me as Kay. So they're seeing like this one image, and my friend even called me the other day, and she said that because I had my first finance event in February on my birthday, and she said to me like 2 days ago, she's like, "Do you know how weird it was for me to see you up on stage?" She was like, "You were so serious," and she said to me, she was sitting there laughing, not laughing at me, but she was like, "I've never seen a side to Kia. Like this is mental." And then she was looking around, and everyone was taking notes, and she was just like, "This is insane!" Like in a good way. She's like, "I can't believe."
Yeah,
it would be so surreal.
Yeah.
I guess that's a lot of people probably whose friends go on to do really successful things or have that surreal moment where it's like, wow, people are actually listening to them. Obviously, you probably bust banter with them as well. So there's been times where it's like they know one side of you, and then it's interesting to see this other side as well. I mean, I guess is that what's been the most interesting moment or surreal moment for you as a person whilst having all this success?
I'd say, if not the BBC, then I'd say Monzo. Like that blew me out the water. Like I remember Monzo followed me, and I was like insane. And then they saw my 2020 vision board, and they sent me like a care package out to my house, and I was like, that's mental. And then I don't know, you probably didn't see, it's fine. I did a couple of threads for them in the last couple of weeks as well, and that was just like, all of that was just so mental, because literally when they sent me out 2020 vision board, I was like, I hope they're on my board. Like working with them was actually on my board. And like, and yeah, that was really mental. It's still surreal now, I'd say. 100%.
See, man, I'm trying to have these moments as well, you know. I want Boohoo Man sending me stuff.
We're getting there, bro. We're getting there, bro. BBC boys, innit? We're slowly getting there.
Soon come.
You know what I'm saying?
100% come. 100%.
Speaking it into existence, Boohoo Man, 100%. I want something. Hey, so you know where I'm at.
You know where I live.
They know it well. Still delivering, even in these times. I was shocked. They're not playing.
Yo, they're still delivering, man. It's mad
They're
right
actually
now.
out here, man.
These times,
honestly.
I'm still waiting on my Converses.
Hey, Kay, you mentioned something really, really, really good in the podcast, and I'm so mad I didn't listen to it earlier. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a mare right now. Basically, long story short, I should have bought something with my credit card because it might have gone astray.
Oh,
And so obviously you mentioned about if you buy it with your credit card, which I never knew, that you get,
yeah,
double the amount of protection. Because if, you
yeah,
go to the people who sent it, they don't say anything. You can at least go to your bank. So when I
yeah.
was listening to that, I was like, this is really, really good information because I'm from a financial background and I literally had no idea about that. So now I'm in a situation where I don't know where a certain thing I've bought is. And if I'd done that, then obviously that's like extra protection. So
Yeah.
like some of the
Oh
information you
man,
give is really, really, really key, man. Like I can't explain.
for real.
So
That whole credit card thing, I found out about at Christmas. You both were at the mill, and Vincent paid for something. Shout out to Vincent. Paid for something on his credit card. I was like, I just always had the mindset that credit cards weren't good, or like it's credit, so you don't. It's not your money. X, Y, and Z. And all the man then broke it down for me why it's like they're actually good. I was like, wow. See these like life experiences like that, like why they're so like it's so important to again have these conversations. But yeah, I didn't know the credit card thing is a madness. It's a whole new world.
it's a culture thing though. Like I feel like growing up, like my parents kind of had it in my head like that it wasn't a good thing. So
Yeah.
I guess I got to a certain age where I realized like the benefits of it, and obviously it needs to align with your lifestyle, and you got to use it, spend it wisely,
Yeah.
and like you realize there's actually quite a lot of benefits in there. So it's
Because I
just
always heard about credit cards on like American TV, and they'll be like, "Oh, just max out my credit card." I'll be like, "What are you guys doing?"
max it out,
Quick question: Have any of you guys? I know right now everyone's on like lockdown and quarantine or whatever, but has anybody had like fraud done on their account throughout these past
Nah.
weeks?
Can't
Why?
say
Because
I have.
I've had a couple of people, including myself here, people just use my account to buy certain things. I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? Because on my PayPal, someone bought 2 games and then tried to delete my emails, and then I claimed that back. And then on my bank account, someone tried to buy something from N Clothing. I was a bit like, what's going on?
Nah. That
Like,
gets me mad.
No, it gets me mad because the thing is, I almost couldn't claim back on PayPal because it said, yeah, that's you. I was like, no, it's not me.
Yeah, PayPal is really hard to like claim back on for some reason.
No, it's not hard. It's just that this one, for some reason, was the hardest because they'll say, no, this is you. I'm like, no, it's not me. I showed them the emails, everything like that, and they said, yeah, like, all right, cool, we'll send it back to you. But these past couple
Those guys are the worst,
really
man. The worst one was when my dad gave me 200 for my birthday, and then man wiped my card on stuff I would never buy or eat. Like, I don't know, they got Burger King on the card. I was like,
Yeah,
who
no,
eats
that's
at
a
Burger
kid,
King?
fam. No, 17 year
Who eats a
old.
Burger
409 on
King?
your card for real. You need a 409 on your card for real, man. Because they tried to buy stuff from N Clothing. Santander sent me a text straight away saying, "Is this you?
Is this you?" Yeah. That's what
I
happened
mean,
to
it
me
may
as well.
seem like me, but no, because I haven't ordered anything. And I didn't enter any raffles.
Would you do you even have an account with N Clothing?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh, mad.
So it was really strange. It was like, nah, it's not me. Called them up, said, yo, this is the situation. Like, all right, cool, we'll send you a new card. So
Just gotta be careful,
it's
man.
real. Yeah, for real. It's real out here. You gotta watch your back.
Yeah,
for sure.
Otherwise, they'll take it. That's nuts. And this happened recently.
Yeah, man, this happened last week. It's the fact that they tried to buy 2 games and then try to say, oh yeah, my son really needs these 2 games. I'm like, I don't have a son. So someone's lying here. Somebody's lying here.
That's jokes.
Yeah. So,
man is childless as well, man. That's mugging,
no
man.
baby in sight.
I contacted the company, told them, listen, I don't have a son. That's not me. I live here. So I don't know what
For
information
real, tell him Skepta, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. Well, stay safe, not just from Corona, but also keep your bank account safe.
Bad.
Yeah.
419.
Obviously, like
how's everyone? I guess you got to ask. How's everyone coping? It looks like the end could be in sight. Don't want to get too gassed, but saw some good news from Italy, as I said earlier. Okay, you said this
Italy,
is like
Spain,
Sweden.
I know Sweden's doing a madness right now, but you know, yeah, I think if we're at our peak, then we'll see in the next couple of weeks. Because that will dictate if we can if we can partially come out of lockdown in May. I mean, we're on partial lockdown at the current moment, but if we can come out of partial lockdown in May or if it's in June, we'll see in the next few weeks. So that was
okay. What have you been doing to keep busy, or like just? Is there anything to do?
Do you know what? I semi envy everyone who's not working from home, because I'm working. So even though I'm doing like Pennies To Pounds, I still work for like another company on the side. So I'm working with them. Like I've got other people that I'm working with as well. So I'm essentially working like 3 jobs a day. And when I tell you I am sleep deprived, like people are just like they're like staying up to 5 in the morning and sleeping and waking up at 2 p.m. I'm thinking, mate, do you not have to be up 8 in the morning for a video call? Like I can't be doing these kind of things. I'm busy. So that's what I'm doing.
Gosh, yeah. Do you know what though? I'm glad I'm working from home, because I don't know, like some certain people just, or their job doesn't have a way for them to work from home, so they've been furloughed. But I don't know what I'd do. True. Like the boredom would just be insane.
Yeah.
Especially,
I mean, I got Netflix, I got Disney Plus, I got what's this? I got YouTube videos to make, so I'm not too.
Yeah, I guess I should have asked you. Did Disney Plus put Netflix in a spliff like they're saying?
Nah, man, they're chatting was, bruv. I don't believe it at all. I mean, Disney Plus is cool, but you can't replace some of the stuff on Netflix, man. Some of the stuff on Netflix is too good.
The problem is Disney didn't come with enough original stuff, if you know what I mean, for the launch.
It's all stuff we've seen and grown up with, innit?
I'm not gonna go watch the Marvel movies again. Not right now, anyway. Not when it's so fresh in my mind.
You've been watching Harry Potter for the first time.
That's been keeping me busy, I swear.
Still not watching that Judge, fam.
It's not that. Do you know what? I thought the same thing. Having watched it now, it's nowhere near as bad as they made out. It's more mythological. What?
It's still just to me, mate.
Fair enough.
You know what they call it, yeah? They call it white magic, fam.
So white magic.
That's soft magic.
God,
they ain't gonna do nothing. Nah, the film series is interesting. I guess it was just something I wanted to get off, like to be able to say I've seen. Has it been worth it? I don't know, but
I mean, nothing else to do.
Here now.
I'm enjoying your live tweets, though. I'm enjoying the breakdown because it's reminding me, because I watched it when I was a youth, so I don't really remember it very well. But to see it, like you running it back, is quite jokes. But,
God, it is a good film series.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, if it's just about keeping busy, especially on this long bank holiday where you can't do anything. Because I was thinking the other day, I was talking to my mum, I was like, what would I be doing right now had I not, if we weren't in lockdown? So it's just interesting to think about that sort of stuff as well. What would you man be doing?
Barbecues. If it's not barbecues, it's football. If it's not football, bruv.
I'm so
there's
gutted,
bare
man.
stuff. There's gym. There's so many things to do, but you just can't do it anymore.
And this weather's
the thing is,
enough.
like, I took a holiday, like a 1-day holiday, so that 1 week I'll be working 4 days. Last week I'll be working 4 days, and this week I'll be working 4 days. Nah, that plan's messed up. Now I'm just doing the whole entire time.
It's gone out the window.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you been doing,
mate? If we were free, I'd be out here at some day parties, sipping some cocktails, good vibes. That's what I'd be doing. I'd have it all planned out, 100%. That's what I'd be doing.
Listen, that first motive after lockdown,
it's gonna go off.
I promise you. No, I promise you. Yeah, like I don't really go out per se. Like I go out with my friends, but I don't really go to events unless I'm like going to do something there, me personally. But once we are released, my face will be everywhere. Everyone will know me. I'm going to create every single motive. Yeah, whatever time it is, I will jump. Everyone will see me going out.
Energy. We need that. That's
Facts,
it right there. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to see anyone standing on the walls. We're dancing. I'm having words with the DJ.
Dancing, little tootsie slide, whatever I need to do. You know what I mean? I'll do whatever. Whatever's required of me.
I'm gonna be having intense words with the DJ. Like, listen, why has Pop Smoke not played twice already? Nah,
I'm telling you, I'll be ready.
That first mimosa is gonna be sweet. Oh God, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, me too, man. 100%.
it's crazy though. You do appreciate times like this in a sense because it's like a chance to be able to sit down and actually, I guess, be grateful for the things you have and then the things you will have, because this will be over at some point.
Yeah.
The things you will have once it's all over as well. And I'm just grateful we was able to carry on with the pod. That was my biggest worry, how would we be able to do this? But we still here. They couldn't knock our hustle.
We still here. It's jarring because we're on a little bit of a roll. You know, we had a couple nice things lined up, and then obviously Corona was like nabby. So had to adapt. Did you have anything lined up for your podcast where it was like, oh shit?
Mate, I had a whole months. I had 3 months worth of oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I had everything planned out, and I'm just like, cool. I guess I won't.
Benito,
real tears, man.
Nah, you got to adapt and improvise, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more. It really does teach you how to go out of your skin and actually do something different, which is why I'm happy we found this as an alternative.
Yeah,
still have people's lovely faces on.
Oh, for sure.
Still have to deal with you lot.
Yeah, exactly. Before we go, one of my topics was just quickly, I was wondering if we could talk about any job stories we've had that are quite funny, first jobs, for example. Because I was having a little bit of a throwback here. I was cleaning out my house, and I found a little a name tag, and it was my Primark name tag when I first worked there.
Oh,
and I was thinking that job was the ghetto, woo chow. Some of the stuff I was doing, for example, I was on the top floor in Lakeside, and some woman comes up to me. I'm on my job is basically to fold all the clothes and stack them up. And some woman comes up to me. She's on her phone. She's not even looking at me, and she clicks her fingers at me, excuse me. And I'm like, what? Clicks her fingers and points at a basket for me to give her the basket. And I looked at this woman are you actually kidding me? Am I some kind of slave servant? And
God.
We had a back and forth, and I had a disciplinary after it. But it just had me thinking obviously some of the stuff that people have to do to make money is actually crazy. Do you guys have any stories that are similar, or you think raw? That's just character building?
Yeah, no, I think for me, it was when I was working in San Martin. So that's a pub in our area. Why, when jobs where you have to stand on your feet for ages, I think it's everyone has to go through that. You'll do your job in retail or waitering or whatever. But I just, now that I look back, I was like, how did I do that? And then it's difficult. The hours are long. And then it's that sort of job where as soon as you go in, your mind is on the clock because you're like, I can't wait for this to be over so I can go home. There's no enjoyment whatsoever. It's literally for the money. It's just crazy how we put ourselves in those situations where you don't like the job. You know you don't like the job. The person that's hired you knows you don't like the job. We both know everyone's here for the money. That's it.
Has to be done though, innit?
For real.
It does. It really does.
Okay, do you have it?
I have one. Yeah, I do. My first job was at McDonald's, and I was earning £4 an hour, working crazy shifts. And do you know what? I liked the people I worked with, because everyone I worked with, so I was 17, I think, 16 when I joined, and everyone was between the ages of 16 to 23, I'd say, the majority of staff. So everyone's kind of the same age, and it was cool. But then there was times where I remember we would just be packed. We'd have, because I worked in one in my area, which is really popular, drive-through everything. Everyone knows one in my area. And we'd have I'd be the only person on tills, and I'd have a queue going out the door. And I had to somehow figure out how to serve people, give them food, and help drive through. And I remember we did it. There was one night where there was one, so I was on tills, one girl on drive-through, and then one person in the kitchen, and obviously one manager. So imagine that's what's 4 of us, yeah? And it was calm, so that's usually enough. It's 10 p.m. I think I finished at 11. And then at 10:45, a whole horde of people on motorbikes came in. About 50 people came in, all wanted McDonald's. And I told you, there's one on each station. So we literally were oh my gosh. I literally did overtime. I went to finish at 11 p.m. I finished at 1 a.m. I stayed there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We couldn't leave. Me and the drive-thru girl were meant to leave. But we couldn't. We had to help them. And that was insane.
God, did you get paid for the overtime?
Yeah, because it's like a clocking system, isn't it? So you get paid more if you just stay longer. And also there was one summer, so I think we had like a week off. I don't know when you get a week off, like, you know, when the holidays from like sixth form and stuff. So we had a week off, and I remember I said to myself, I'm gonna make money. Bear in mind, I had sixth form work to do. I said, no, I'm gonna work every single day, guys. When I tell you, I worked something ridiculous. I worked something like 80 hours that week, I think.
Bruh.
Like, I put in overtime.
That
I put in overtime that week, and I came out with £200. I think that's when my heart broke. My heart broke. I came out with £200 from doing 80 hours. I said, no.
God
forbid.
No.
No way.
That's how little I was being paid. I said,
that
no.
is a mazine.
Is that when you left? Was that it?
2 bills.
That was it. For all them hours,
Outside,
imagine, I was starting at 6 a.m. and finishing at like 6, 7 p.m. and then doing the same thing the next day and then staying extra hours where I could. I was doing all that to then get £200 that week. I was like, wow.
I'm actually I'm upset.
Yeah. After that, I never did any. I didn't do a drop of overtime after that. Yeah. I didn't do a drop of overtime after that. That was it. I was done. Drew the line. Never again.
Man, 8 hours. Jeez.
Yeah, man.
Nah, I'm shocked.
I've never done 80 hours in my life. Man. That's crazy. But what's it?
The thing is, it wasn't legal though. I was too young. I was 16 doing that. So they shouldn't have let me. After like 37, I should have had a break. But they said, no, if you want to work, keep working.
Is the pay even legal? Because you're saying £4.
At the time, minimum wage was £3.85, so they'll pay me a minimum wage. Yeah, so
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Once, like, for example, it's 16, then it's 18, then it's 21.
Yeah. Then 25, I think. Yeah.
No,
my experience was different, man. It's just stupid things happening. So basically, I was at my workplace. I was working at Next, and I was working in a factory. And pretty much what had happened was that basically one of the managers was asking, why am I not picking? I said, I am picking at the moment. It's just not registering at the moment. So you're just going to have to wait like 2 seconds. And then once that happens, everything should be fine. So I picked, so like I'm picking items from like 200 and it goes all the way down to like 80. But then they're doing like their stock takes. So then as soon as they do their stock takes, the picking list will go back up. So then I did that most of the time, and then I just told the managers like, "Yo, this is the situation. Like, you're picking, and at the same time I'm picking. So right now it's gonna go up. Even if I'm picking, I'm going it down. You're picking, and it's gonna go up. Cool." The main manager tried like I didn't pick up the phone for like 2 seconds, and then I went back up. I told the manager, "Listen, I went to the toilet. Just bear with me." I said, "Yeah, but the thing is, you missed it twice." I said, "Well, yeah, I went to the toilet." So he's just trying to give me lip because he's just that camp individual who just wants to give lip all the time. Cool. I said, all right, listen, right now I've got to go back to work. I'm going to do my work safe. Put it down. Calls me the next second. I pick up. It's like, why did you put the phone down while I was still talking? I said, listen, I told you I'm working at the moment. Yeah, you're going to have to call me when it's closer to the evening at the moment, because right now I'm trying to do my job. Yeah, and right now you're stopping me doing my job, but you're complaining about me not doing my job. Cool. I put down the phone. Next thing he says, he calls again and I don't pick up. He calls again, I don't pick up. Then he calls a third time. I go to him, I pick up. I said, hello. Why did you pick up the phone? It might have been a customer. I know it wasn't a customer. It was definitely you that was calling. He's like, so you're not man enough to pick up the phone? I put down the phone straight away. Pussy, yo. Listen, if you're listening, my name's Greg. You're moist. Don't like you. See your son? I like your son, though. Sam. Shout out to Sam. But you're moist.
That's hilarious.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, them times working at Next, it was just something else, man. It was just...
Warehouse jobs are the worst, man. There's even like that time when I told you I was working at Tesco in Purfleet. Like, just... the things you find yourself doing are just things you wouldn't normally do, and it's just like, but it's a point in life, and I think everyone has to go through it again because it's character building.
100%.
Definitely,
it's definitely
just an experience
building.
You have to have.
Well, I think when it comes to when it comes to retail work and then there's warehouse individuals, they look down upon people who are working on warehouse work, even though we're getting paid the same. So in other words, I'm the same individual as you, but you look down on me because I'm working at warehouse. So it's just that sort of mentality, especially when you're working at retail and warehouse work. It's just, it's completely
100%.
different. And then there's two different mindsets where it's like, banter, and then when you work in like a store or something, it's very much upscale. So it was, at that time, it was just character building, because I just saw individuals, I just saw behaviors. It's really interesting working at like retail and warehouse work at the same time, because you just get to see behaviors, and then you get to make judgment calls in the future. So
agreed.
Yeah, it was real interesting, but it was just life.
Good life lessons, like you said, like, you know,
For real.
something that
The biggest one that I learned was the most important thing about work is enjoy the people you work with, because if you don't,
bruv,
forget about it. Forget about it.
See them man there.
Love it.
So yeah, that's all the topics, I think. Yeah, no, that was a good little discussion. I appreciate you coming on, Kay.
Thank you so much again. Yeah,
thank you very much for coming through. Much appreciated.
Watching out for your comedy. I'm interested now.
I'll definitely come through. You know, we'll definitely come through.
For real,
just
you got
let us know
number one
when.
fan.
Out of quarantine, we need something to do, man.
Make it happen.
Once I do it, I will give you guys front row seats.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
Perfect.
Got it.
Absolutely.
For real. I'll be there with that, like the sign that says number one fan.
Yeah, all the best. All the best with all your endeavors and like your podcast as well. And hopefully, when this is all like done, we can actually do like a proper episode in person. So
absolutely, I'll be looking forward to actually meet you guys properly in person and not over Zoom, even though it's a good alternative.
Exactly. So yeah, let them know your socials, your information.
Oh yeah, my information. So if you want to find out more about Pennies to Pounds, you can follow us on Instagram, which is Pennies to Pounds Pod. On Twitter, it's Pennies to Pound, as in singular pound. Someone took the S one, so Pennies to Pound. And I know, right? Sad, but and the podcast is Pennies to Pounds Podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. If you want financial guidance and information and tips like that.
Perfect.
Lovely.
Appreciate it. Thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Cool.
Bye.
Peace.
Take care. Bless.